Hello everyone, this is Jimmy and welcome to episode 12 of FTB Interactions. Between episodes, have gone ahead and replaced all of our golden chests that used to be here with modular storages with tier 3 storage modules. These are actually extremely cheap, like a diamond dust, a graphite ingot, or a graphite dust, a soldering alloy ingot, 2 redstone ingots. The only thing is it takes a little bit of time, like a tier 1 circuit, 8 iron or uniron plate and 8 gold plates. So material wise, these are basically free. However, some of these processes take a long time to do right now. Enriched alloy, 75 seconds each. The next one, reinforced alloy, 75 seconds each at MV, so it doesn't even overclock. But they're done now. It took well over an hour of just crafting to make all of this, but it's made now, so whew. That's done. Anyways, right now we're only using, like, let's see. So the bottom, we have 3 full ones and a half full one here, and I think a 2.5 here. So all of our items really fit in, 6 modular storages, and we have 8 by 4, 32. We have a lot of room, a lot of item space left to fill, which is good. I'm sure it'll get filled eventually. I haven't hooked up any dedicated item storage to it yet. Like, this is all generic storage, right? There's nothing stopping me from hooking up, say, barrels or what do we call these things? Caches that can hold just a single item type. But I haven't had a need for, I don't have so much of a single item that I need to hold them in those, at least on our network yet. So for now, I'll leave this as is, just as a unified inventory. Maybe we'll do auto crafting later, maybe not. I haven't quite decided on that yet. Anyways, let's move on to today's first project. I have a couple things I want to do today, which include biodiesel. But before we get to biodiesel, I want to look into the Super Factory Manager mod. Super Factory Manager, I guess you call it like a remake of Steve's Factory Manager from the 1.7 days. It is a mod that allows you to manipulate the flow of items and fluids. At its fundamental level, it's just under IO conduits. You can move items around, you can move fluids around, you can move... maybe you can do energy? I'm not 100% sure about that. But you can do... well, the reason, at least for now, I'm only going to use it as that. The reason is I don't have enough ender fluid conduits to actually do things. I only got a few from quest rewards, and ender fluid conduits, ender fluid, require vibrant alloy, which I can't make yet. This requires a blast furnace with a higher temperature than we can do. It's also HV, although an HV blast furnace we can manage. Anyways, so because we can't make ender fluid conduits, I'm going to use SFM as an alternative. Now, it can do other stuff too. It can place blocks in world. It can detect the state of blocks in world. It's more powerful than ender IO conduits, that's for sure. But for now, I'm just going to use them as conduits. So to do so, you need a machine inventory manager. This is like the heart of your SFM system, and inventory cables. This is what connects your SFM system to inventories. If you want to do more than that, of course, there's like redstone. There's redstone blocks, redstone emitters and receivers, a block update detector. Block gates can place and remove blocks from the world. Item valves, I think, pick up items. Is that what it does? No, item valves pick up items in the world. And I don't know what the block gate does. Anyways, don't worry about it. For now, let's start with the machine inventory manager and some cables. This uses the ethylene that we made last episode, I think, which is why it's available to us now. Another thing I did between episodes was make our flux bore and a nullifier. So the flux bore is just like a hammer. At reinforced tier, it only goes up to 3x3, but eventually it can either be 3x3x3, so it'll mine out a cube, or 5x5, I believe. So it'll mine out a big square. It also uses RF instead of durability, so I made ourselves a Spectre charger to wirelessly charge it. Also, I made the nullifier, which is, I guess it's like halfway between a dev null and a dank null. So it has item slots, you put items in, it automatically picks items up. If it gets over 1024, it voids them. So like when I mine in the nether, I just, or when I mine anywhere really, it just automatically fills up, and I don't have to worry about like or avoiding the netherrack or cobblestone anymore, which is convenient. It's been many years since I've last used SFM, so let's refresh my memory and perhaps do a brief demonstration of it with our methane system here. I'll just make it so that it will automatically, do all the item and fluid transport of this system so that I can get rid of all these conduits. I got the first tiny bit finished here. It takes the output from the chicken coop, moves it to the compressor, takes the output from the compressor, and moves it to this barrel. That's how it works. So what this is I guess you call it like a graphical programming language, roughly akin to, I'm thinking LabVIEW or what's the Lego one called? Mindstorms? Or NXT? One or the other, I don't know. But you start from triggers. These are, start points in your code. Typically, they're just run on a timer, although I think you can have other triggers too. You can trigger on, say, redstone or block update, I guess, are your options. But for now, I'm just triggering these on a timer. Then, so I have two triggers. First, I have one that's chicken to compressor. That takes input from the chicken coop, the roost. The direction doesn't matter for this, although if direction does matter, you can extract from, side of your choice or insert to side of your choice, and it takes all items, so it blacklists nothing. Now, because the roost can only export these items, while the thing can see the chicken, I believe, it can't actually steal the chicken from the roost. The chicken is safe and tucked away. Then the output is just defined as the compressor, so it sends it to the compressor. Very similar thing for this next one. I should actually name it. So this is compressor to barrel. No, basic capital, whatever. Compressor to barrel. Now I just have to do similar things for barrel to centrifuges, and then centrifuges back to barrels, and then the fluid management stuff. So yeah, it's basically just what the item conduits were already doing, but now we get to not use our precious few under fluid conduits. And I'm done. So let's walk through this whole thing. First of all, you need these inventory cables to touch every inventory that you wish to interact with. Perhaps that's somewhat obvious. So I've hooked it up to all our gas turbines, all our centrifuges, and all our inventories. Now, there's a lot of code here, so let's start from the upper right. These are just variables. They are lists that contain, they're just definitions of like, here's every centrifuge. So if I have to add more centrifuges, I just have to add them to this list instead of taking everything that interacts with centrifuges and adding it to the input selection, right? I could just, instead of selecting a variable here, like I do, this is barrels. For output here, instead of selecting a variable, right, like I do list centrifuges, I could just select every centrifuge, but then if I have to add more centrifuges, I have to add it to this output and this input and this whatever input. So it's good practice, I guess, to use variables like this. Anyways, I have a similar thing for output barrels, output tanks, and generators. Alright, so most of these are pretty self-explanatory. They move items or fluids from point A to point B. The ones with F are for fluids. The only one that's slightly tricky is that the centrifuge one, because there's a trash can involved, I kind of have priorities. So can I pan this? I cannot. Alright, the way it works is that first I have an output into the tanks. So again, I have it defined as a variable, right? List output tanks. And then anything that doesn't go into there, any leftovers, gets sent to tanks, the trash can. This is, let's see, I have the trash can selected here. And actually, I want one more change here. I only want to send mineral resin, right? I want to whitelist mineral resin into the trash can. I do not want to void excess methane. I want to hang on to that and just leave it in the machine buffers. So now what will happen is, this effectively just recreates what we had, except in SFM. Nice. All right, now let's do something new with SFM. And for that is I want to make biodiesel. So biodiesel does a few things. Well, first of all, it's used to make power. I don't even know if I'll burn it right now. I'm actually more interested in the byproduct glycerol than the biodiesel itself, but this is the easiest way to make glycerol. So, we may as well get biodiesel while we're at it. Biodiesel for now, the reason I don't know if I'll bother, I mean, maybe I'll burn it, I don't know, is that it's not very efficient. It's 256 EU per millibucket, which to be fair is more efficient than our methane is. However, later we can upgrade biodiesel into cetane boosted diesel, where cetane diesel is 720 EU per millibucket. I wish this number would be EU per millibucket as opposed to making me do math, but oh well. Right, so we almost triple our biodiesel efficiency when we turn it into cetane diesel. However, this requires a HV mixer. And also, I guess we lose some of that efficiency because it's 1,000 input to 750 output. But beyond cetane diesel even, we can quite easily turn it from cetane diesel into infused nitro diesel. And this stuff is good. Infused nitro diesel is 1920 per 2. So what is that? Divide by 2, 960 EU per millibucket for only a little bit more work. However, this is also a, well, I guess this is an MV recipe, but this is the HV recipe. So we can't do that yet. So given that, I think I'm just going to make biodiesel. The byproduct I mentioned is glycerol, which is a component in epichlorohydrin, which is itself a component in epoxy resin. And in fact, I think it represents the easiest way to get epoxy resin. Well, it's a required part of epoxy resin, along with either gas byproducts, like oil byproducts, or this weird chemical that you have to do a lot of chemistry for. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Let's start on biodiesel. Biodiesel is seed oil or fish oil plus methanol or ethanol and tiny sodium hydroxide. So sodium hydroxide is easy. Our saltwater electrolyzer, our brine electrolyzer produces this. So that's taken care of. Between fish or seed oil, I think seed oil is easier because we can use a fluid transposer on canola seeds to get it. And canola seeds can come from the chicken, which is easy to make. I'll do that in just a second. I haven't made it yet, but that'll be our seed oil source. So the last thing is a source of methanol or ethanol. Right now, I'm already making ethanol for our what's it called, PVC, and the other thing. However, I think ethanol is it's really slow. I want to try doing methanol. So methanol can be made with hydrogen and carbon dioxide. I think there's actually an easy one, or easier one. No, maybe not. Hydrogen and carbon dioxide. So the reason I like this is because both hydrogen can come from chickens in the chemical reactor. Yeah, gassy eggs become hydrogen. Carbon dioxide, can this directly come from chickens, or do I have to? Is there a step involved? Oh, I can go methane and water. That's not bad. That produces, oh, that's an HV recipe. Nope, we can't do that. Yeah, it doesn't come from chickens. But what we can do is carbon and oxygen. Oxygen comes from chickens. Carbon comes from here. Right, so I have plenty of carbon dust here. So I can tap into that carbon source, and we can make our methanol from that. So let's start making biodiesel. I'll have to see if this entire process can be done in MV, or if we want to do this entire process in LV or MV. I'm not sure yet. And the biodiesel setup is done. So the only input to the system that I have to make by hand is the tiny piles of sodium hydroxide dust into this barrel, because they're crafted all the way over there. And it's a little, I mean, I guess it's not that far to run a cable, but maybe I'll do that later. Anyways, here's what it does. So first thing it does, chicken input to the machines that need it. So there's two chickens. There's the gassy chicken that produces hydrogen and oxygen. Then there's the canola chicken that produces canola. So that's what this column handles. Next is the carbon monoxide crafting. That's made in this chemical reactor. It takes carbon dust and oxygen. The carbon dust comes indirectly from over here. To keep the two systems separate, the SFM system I had powering the turbines, I'm having it dump all the carbon dust into this strong box, and then I'm having this separate system pick it up from the strong box. So these two are not connected, as you can see. Keeps the code a little bit cleaner. So that pulls everything needed to make carbon monoxide. It pulls the carbon dust and the oxygen. Next up, you get the point now, right? I have a similar one doing methanol and a similar one doing biodiesel. And that's what's being produced here. Now I just need, so I guess our bottleneck right now is our hydrogen production. I decided to do it in an LV chemical reactor, and maybe that was a mistake. I can either add another chemical reactor or maybe I just accept that it's the bottleneck. I mean, it's not an unreasonable bottleneck. We'll see. If this is fast enough, I'll probably leave it. Anyways, next thing is we'll have to store these materials somehow. Earlier I mentioned I wasn't going to burn the biodiesel, but I mean, if I don't burn the biodiesel, what else am I going to do with it? So I'm thinking I may as well burn it. Meh. Anyways, so I need some way to store these, and I need to start using the glycerol on our way towards whatever it was for. I already forgot. The last little bit here, it's been hooked up. So from our chemical reactor here, it produces glycerol and biodiesel. I store the biodiesel into a big tank, glycerol in a small tank. I avoid excess glycerol for now. And the biodiesel afterwards gets distributed to some diesel generators, which are all on this band of steel cable. Added a couple more MV transformers too to provide a bit more energy on the low voltage side of our network, because I added a second blast furnace here to make red alloy ingots more efficiently. Red alloy ingots, right? The previous way I was making them is in an alloy smelter with 4 redstone, but now I can make it in a blast furnace with 2 redstone by melting the redstone first. Later, I can do it even better with 1 redstone with annealed copper, but that's an HV recipe. Lastly, we just have to take our, it's empty, what's it called? Glycerol, combine it with hydrochloric acid to make epichlorohydrin. The hydrochloric acid comes from, so chlorine comes from our brine system here. Actually, I did run an inventory cable underneath it now to hook into this tank, which is normally a chlorine tank. Hydrogen comes from a chicken, and yeah, that gets put together into epichlorohydrin and water, which gets thrown out. Now, each of these systems is separate from the other ones, like they're not touching here just barely, for the sake of keeping my code a little clean. I heard actually that in a upcoming patch, these machine or that Ender fluid conduits will be made MV tier as opposed to HV tier. That will be a good thing, although it'll probably be a little late for me. But when that happens, I can, if I like, I can rip out most of this Super Factory Manager stuff and replace it with conduits, which, I don't know, they're kind of nicer because you can jump over them more easily. Like, you can jump onto the machine. Here, if I want to go past this, I have to jump over it and then take fall damage on the other side, which is awkward, to say the least. The natural next step to do with epichlorohydrin is to turn it into epoxy, which is used to make epoxy circuit boards in the chemical reactor. So epoxy resin sheets can be turned into epoxy circuit boards. However, these are, we don't need them until HV at the earliest. Yeah, in fact, we can't even use them until HV at the earliest. So I think we can hold off on that a little bit, because the next step involves getting this naphtha, which will be much easier in HV than it is now. So we'll just leave this here for now. It's ready to go. Which means I think we're done with this little bit of chemistry right now. We have biodiesel to power some more generators, And we have biodiesel on hand for when we reach HV to turn into cetane diesel and nitro diesel after that. All right, so what shall we do next? Let's loop back to our Astral sorcery thing a little bit and see about making this Avitas constellation paper. Right before we were bottlenecked on needing, well, we still need to make the celestial altar, but we needed to make flux phytogrow and growth reagents. So let's do some magic now to try to get this Avitas paper so that we can work on our attunement a bit more. If you remember our Astral sorcery tome, our attunement perks, I want to take this central perk, but I can't do it yet until I get the last constellation discovered. Making rich phytogrow isn't that bad. Everything here, the only tricky thing I guess is a saltpeter. The hardest part is finding the appropriate recipe in JEI. So saltpeter is made from blocks, which is transmuted from salt blocks. It took me a while to find that, but once we got there, that's pretty easy. The only tricky part in this, though, is that to turn the rich phytogrow into flux phytogrow, we need signalum gears. So that needs signalum, obviously, the ingot. How do we make this? In a blast furnace with nitrogen. It's an MV, thankfully, and signalum dust, which is a mixer, 3 copper, a redstone, and that's a strange amount of redstone. Is there any other way? Doesn't look like it. All right, so a bucket of redstone, 3 copper dust, and a redstone, and another piece of redstone make 2 signalum dust. Transporting some of these fluids that you need for that is a little annoying because they carry you away like nitrogen. Can't wait till I have creative flight, because if you have creative flight, right, you can just cancel that out. But until then, I just get carried away sometimes, literally. Anyways, this should, once it finishes that one, start cooking our signalum. Thankfully, signalum doesn't take that long to make in a blast furnace. Our first ingot should be popping out anytime soon. There we go. And we only need 8 to get started, but I mean, it's still 11 seconds a pop. So while that cooks, let's see about upgrading our altar to Celestial tier. I just made the sterling silver. Sterling silver, on the other hand, takes the better part of forever to make. And here, let's take a look at that just for curiosity's sake. Altar, sterling silver. Yeah, just about 3 minutes a piece. But I'll queue that up. After it's done with the signalum, it'll start working on the silver. Anyways, it'll take our signalum another couple minutes. So with our sterling silver, if I just turn it into plates, we should be able to upgrade our altar. And thanks to the fact that we built in a star field, it looks like we can even do this upgrade during the day, which is pretty convenient. All right, let's go. Now, when you upgrade the altar, you'll also have to upgrade the structure around it. So let's pull out our book and see what blocks that needs. But I'll just, unless there's any, unless I run into any hiccups, I'll just upgrade the multi-block off camera. So at Celestial tier, even at night, our bar is not quite full. That may eventually become a problem, but I think it's fine for now. So we'll cross that bridge when we get there, but just something to keep in the back of your mind. Having access to signalum unlocks a few things. Obviously, there's the energetic infuser, which is the machine we wanted, but it also lets us upgrade our drill. So, do I have petroleum yet? I guess not. I can make this. Let's make a couple pieces of petroleum dust real quick, and then we can upgrade our drill to the next tier as well. So this next drill will be able to do 3x3x3 mining, I think. Let's craft it. No? But, there we go. So, depending on the mode, but now we've unlocked 3x3x3 mode, which will just make mining that little bit faster. While I'm in my base, I like to leave it in single mode because I don't want to accidentally click something and destroy a bunch. But anyways, let's use our energetic infuser and see how fast this is. Sure, we'll just put you here. It's not fast. Not fast at all. Oh well, we only need a few pieces of it, so let's just automate it. We'll feed with a hopper and let it do its thing. Next up, we have to do some blood magic. So the next ingredient and the last ingredient we're missing are growth reagents. These are made in the Hellfire Forge with some basic stuff and a minimum of 128 will. Alright, so let's see about making a Hellfire Forge. We need living rock and a blood altar first. Alright, let's see about a blood altar. Can I just do it? Missing demonic will and skull. Go? I don't have a wither skeleton skull. Alright, let's go get a wither skeleton skull then. I have... It's Vorpal that gets skulls, right? I have Vorpal on this sword. So this will get us wither skeleton skulls. Alright, I got 4 skulls. We'll use 1 for crafting and the other 3 to spawn a wither. You know what? Let's go do the wither now. If you're expecting me to fight the wither fair and square, I'm happy to disappoint you. I'm not going to. Let's have our regen potions on us just in case something happens. You never know. So what should happen is when this wither spawns, he gets his head stuck in the ceiling like that, and he's incapable of doing anything, so we just kind of beat on him till he dies. Because that's what I do, I cheese fights. Did I build it wrong? Why is there a cheese? He has a lot of hit points, jeez. He apparently also has thorns. We'll just shoot him then. Better still not have thorns in the melee only phase. Nope, still has thorns. This will be a tough fight without, well, cheating. Aha, we did it. And we even got the quest complete. So, not that one. I think it's the one that leads into Applied Energistics. Yeah, rewards another star plate. Ooh, fancy. And with that, we can craft our blood altar. Use this will. There we go. Alright, so now we just, I guess we have to start filling it with blood, right? Let me pull up the blood magic quest line. That next step is to make the weak blood orb. So ran into 2 issues already. First of all, I don't have any of the Fengarum gems for to turn into a blood orb. I only have the better ones. So shame I'm lucky, I guess. That's okay. I'm growing more and I'm sure some of these will turn into Fengarum gems. The bigger problem though is that the Dagger of Sacrifice is disabled. Looks like we have to get blood from mob learning and the antagonizer. Well, we're getting there. So a digital mob agonizer lets us turn, I think it's only zombies. Yeah, we can simulate zombies for blood. Ideally, you want the highest tier one for the most blood. That makes sense. However, in order to level up your data model, you need the learner, deep learner, which takes explicitly purple slime. And I'm not sure where you get purple slime from. This tree is you get purple leaves, but the leaves only drop saplings, and the trunk is green slime. So I'm a bit at a loss. Maybe if I let the leaves decay, they'll drop purple slime balls? Maybe, possibly. Well, apparently, the way you get purple slime is you go on a journey. You make a alchemical matter infuser, you get blue slime pristine matter, and then you stuff stuff into it. We're not doing that. You get 1 as a reward for the simulation chamber quest. Thank goodness. So we're just going to make a simulation chamber, and hopefully that will that quest reward will be sufficient. Alright, with our deep learner in hand, we can put our data models inside, and you see it up on the upper left, we now have a UI. Put this in our offhand, that UI will stay persistent. And we have to kill... Come on, stop humming. There we go. We have to kill mobs. Be too difficult, right? That's what our bow is for. I spent the night hunting and I got my zombie model up to advanced. But I want to do better than that and there's no mobs left to kill. So let's set up our the simulation chamber now and use that to get the model the rest of the way up. I was planning on using these spectre coils to transfer RF. But it didn't occur to me that I can connect them to energy conduits. I can put it directly on the machine, of course, but that just means that the coil can only power one machine. I would like a way to be able to power like a capacitor, but I guess what I could do is I could use a Spectre coil, power a CEF to power a CEU. That seems, sure, why not? Alright, this is a little silly, but Spectre coil wirelessly transfers RF. CEF transfer. Basically I needed a block to attach it to, right? So I needed RF receiving block, but I couldn't find an RF receiving block that also transmits RF. So I have a CEF which converts it to EU, and then a CEU which immediately converts it back to RF that I can connect energy conduits to. I have a feeling this is not the best solution. Whoopsies, that's also not the right block. So if we take our simulation chamber, it's nighttime, by the way. I spent so long building these things that I could just go out and kill mobs again. In fact, I'm going to do that until it's daytime again, and then we'll do the rest in the sim chamber. Alright, I did pretty well. Didn't quite max out my models, but we got advanced and superior on them. Now let's head back home and use the sim to finish it out. The fuel for simulations is this polymer clay. It's basically just polyethylene and clay, and you get a lot of it. So I'm going to make a couple stacks. So into the sim chamber, you put your polymer clay and your data model. The data model is not consumed, it just sits there. And it starts running. Every, I think, 10-ish seconds, it completes a cycle and gains 1 point. So we're at 469, 470. You also get a piece of matter regardless of success, and you have a chance to get a pristine thingy. So if we speed this up a bit, we should get some pristines. Now it does get pretty fast when you speed it up. So you saw that pristine zombie matter. This is normally what you're after. What can we do with this? I guess we can make it zombie flesh. And with a alchemical matter infuser, we can make other things. So we don't really need this right now. Stack, thank you. These matters can be eaten for EXP. They can also be centrifuged for stuff and EXP. This might be more than eating it, I'm not sure. In any event, I'm just gonna let this run until we get our data model to max data, so 900 data. And I'm gonna speed it up to facilitate that. Thanks to our trusty time in a bottle, we'll have this done before the sun sets. Maybe. It'll be close. Anyways, we're almost there. Once we get this to self-aware tier, we could either continue running it in the sim chamber just for a higher pristine chance. I don't really care for that. At this point, because the pristine matters don't really do anything, I'm just going to take this out and we'll set it up to fill our blood altar. Let's excavate, or not excavate, but build out an area to put the altar. Maybe, I guess back here, we're kind of doing magical things here, right? I'll extend this over a little further, I guess. I ended up expanding the base in a different direction. I felt like I was getting a little bit too close to the land there, and I don't want mobs that spawn on land to aggro us while we're just, chilling around. Anyways, here's our blood altar. As you can see, it's very big. It's also very pink for no particular reason. I don't know. I picked a random color, cobblestone color, and built it out of that. It'll be a reminder that we have to finish our blood altar to make it look a little bit less stand out-ish, hideous. I don't know. Your choice of words. Anyways, the mob antagonizer goes. Really, it can go anywhere. So I'll put it here because why not? The data model goes inside. And it needs power, so I'm going to give it a Spectre coil. And then we need to link it with our altar. Link you with you. Whoopsies. With you. And go. This operation does not require any polymer clay. This just runs. And we should see that our altar is starting to fill with fluid. The first bucket or so that goes in here will end up getting drained into the internal buffer, so we don't have to worry about that. But anyways, make more blood. And now we have some life essence in here. Let's go to our Astral Source area, grab one of our gems. Hopefully one of them is done growing, and make our blood orb. Also, I built this entire thing 1 block higher than I meant to, But by the time I realized that, I was too committed and too lazy to take it down. Alright, how do we do? We have one fully grown white gem. Normally the white ones are the worst, but white ones are the ones I need right now, so I guess I'll take it. And then I think the different colors have different crafting reasons or uses. The oranges are typically the best for stats. Ooh, crit chance boost speed armor. Dodge increased. Increase is good, right? No, additional is the best. Additional is additive, increase is multiplicative on additional, and more is additive at the end of that. So, well, I guess it depends on how much dodge we have. That may or may not be good. Anyways, we got one white one, which is all we need. So let's turn it into a blood orb. All we have to do is place it in there and wait a little bit. Not quite sure how long it'll take. 2000 LP at 1 a tick, eh? So that's 2000 ticks, 100 seconds. We'll be back in a minute. Alright, when our blood orb is done, we can take it out, right click it. Apparently it also completes the master blood orb task. It binds it to us and then we can put it back in there and it will fill our life essence network. So let's come here, whoopsies, to our tab and claim our reward. Consume to add OP tier. I'll leave that there. Okay, anyways, Hellfire Forge is next. Let's make this. I assume it doesn't consume our blood orb. Oh, we have to make Mana Steel and Demon Metal. Living Rock and Demon Metal. Concrete is, the Greg Tech concrete is just made from stone, clay, and water. We could have made it a long time ago, but I just never got around to it. And then we just have to turn it into Living Rock. We'll automate this process later, but for now it's just place it, wait a minute, and come back. Exactly 32 pieces. Hey, I thought lava buckets were supposed to burn you while you held it if you didn't have a thing. Maybe one of these buffs makes it not happen? Why do I still float away though when I hold light things? Anyways, once we make that little structure there, we can grab some gold, throw it in, and it transmutes into demon metal. Unless that's changed, in which case I'm about to throw 2 stacks of gold into lava for no good reason. I would check, but that's more effort than just trying it. Cool. Mechanic not changed. I only got 1 stack back. And 1 Hellfire Forge. Alright, I think the quest reward here is also useful. Yeah, it gives us a filled gem. Unfortunately, I think we need the next tier gem. So we need a lesser gem. To do so, we... How do I craft it? It's in the Hellfire Forge with the gem that I guess it just gave us. It's nice that these quest rewards give you filled gems. It really saves you the trouble of going out there to fill a gem. Anyways, now that we have this filled lesser gem, we can use it to craft our growth reagents. Right, this takes 128 and we have more than that. So it's 2 saplings, a sugar cane, and a sugar. The final result of all that should be the constellation paper. Alright, so it looks like we need to wait until nighttime. That's alright, we need nighttime to craft anyways. So we'll be back in a couple minutes. In the meantime, let's take this opportunity to upgrade some of our mana pools into adult mana pools. Real mana pools. Apparently I got fooled. I thought these were... They look the same. I thought these are the mana powder up there as well. Alright, let me grab some dust. Alright, we only have enough living rock for 7 mana pools, I guess, but that should be fine. Much better than the 1 tiny pool we're using to hold our mana right now, right? This also means that we can probably reasonably upgrade our mana generation to be fully automatic instead of, me running it 1 cycle at a time. The sun is setting, the stars are coming out, and we are almost at enough starlight. I think once we reach a dead of night, we'll have enough to do this craft. And there we go. I found that you can speed up the crafting like that too, which is good because this table takes forever to craft. Anyways, let's see if this constellation is out tonight. With any luck, it will be. Is this it? What shape is it? No, it's the great big giant Y-like thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 total. Yeah, this is a secondary constellation. Unlucky. This one might be it. Not sure. There we go. This one is a Venice. So we've discovered that. Now that we've discovered it, I'm pretty sure what that means is that once we get our Astral Tome out, wherever it's hiding, where did I put it? Wait, why doesn't it highlight? Astral? Is it case sensitive? No? Ah, I guess it just doesn't highlight. Alright, whatever. Once we get our Astral Tome, we can store our constellation paper in there, but if we go to perks, this one has unlocked. So we can pick up Singularity, pick up all of these, so that's 2 maximum life, 20% mining speed, 10 crit chance, 15% elemental resists, more EXP gain, and 1 point left apparently. I definitely want to pick up this point eventually. This one is Jelu, I believe. Let me see how the Jelu paper is made. Alright, looks like we need to get to the moon for Jelu. The effect of that perk, I believe, is plus like 3 or 4% perk effect per node unlocked. So it's a lot of perk effect. But we do have 45 total levels, so I have a couple more points to put somewhere. Let me think about this one. I think I'm doing all right defensively, so with 15 more points, I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Sounds good to me. I guess I have 16 points technically because I have one. So yeah, I'll do something like that. Pick up some offensive perks focusing on some more damage. Well, I think that's all the time we have for today. So we'll be back next time. And I think we're at this point, we're more or less ready to begin our journey into HV machines. It's exciting. So I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I hope to see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.